background check every time you take one. And like I said, background checks are something simple that everyone can support. And more to your point, you know, the word gun control, and I'm a gun control advocate, that word gun control has been, unfortunately, painted to mean that if you support gun control, you support disarming everybody. And if you poll the general American public, you'll find, if you say, do you support gun control or not, you'll find a very low level of support for gun control, those two words. But if you actually break it down to specifics, if you say, do you support doing background checks on everybody, that's when you get support in the 80th percentile. A well-known Republican pollster, Frank Luntz, did a poll at the NRA convention last year and found out that 69% of NRA members support doing background checks on all gun sales. So, unfortunately, the debate about gun control has become so loud from both ends of the spectrum that it doesn't allow for a reasonable conversation to happen in the middle, which is what we're doing right now. We talk about specifics. And to your point about the Brady Campaign, people think that, you know, that I got recruited by the Brady Campaign or something like that. And that's not how it happened at all. In fact, the Brady Campaign is not using me. I feel like I'm using the Brady Campaign to get something done, which is background checks. And I understand that Brady's history did involve the group Handgun Control Incorporated. You know, there was, you know, some statements made by the old president that the group said something like the ultimate goal is the disarmament of everybody. But I definitely don't support that, and we are far from that agenda. I'm in all these policy meetings, and we definitely don't talk about that. But I'd like to bring up a point that actually, even before the 1970s, the National Rifle Association supported some gun control. They actually helped make the determination of who was a prohibited person. Which means, you know, people with felony records shouldn't own firearms, people with dangerous mental illness shouldn't own firearms. But if you try to ask them today if they support that idea, and you'll probably get a little backpedal. So both of us have histories that probably don't vibe with how people perceive us now. But like I said, I'm not here to talk about gun control, I'm not here to talk about, I'm here to talk about background checks. That's something simple that we can do. That's something people will support from whatever political spectrum, whatever socioeconomic level. This is something simply that makes sense and is not being done and needs to be done everywhere.
Yeah, but sometimes like criminals acquire guns through some other fashion, like to commit gun violence. They don't need to go to a gun store and buy a gun, but they know that they're going to fail background check the record or they'll illness. They acquire guns through illegal gun shop or black markets, or steal from their own home when they're conducting a robbery or home invasion. So how do we solve something like that? In which case they can like grab a gun and commit violence under the registration of the gun owner's name.
Gotcha. Like I said, you know, there is no silver bullet to this issue that is going to get from 30,000 Americans killed every year from bullets to zero. We're never going to get to zero. When you allow a citizenry to own firearms like this, you're going to have people who get shot and killed. Either suicides that actually happen more common than murders every year, or accidental shootings. We're never going to get from 30,000 to zero. If we get from 30,000 to 20,000 a year, 30,000 to 15,000, I mean, not only is that 15,000 American families still intact, brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers still there, that's millions of dollars saved with law enforcement fees, with medical fees, with legal fees. I mean, the economic cost of gun violence that you would save by saving 15,000 Americans every year would be huge. So, to your point, not everyone goes through these publicly advertised areas, correct. But I would say that the 2 million denials from dealers in the past 16 years speaks volumes to the fact that people still try to go buy guns from these people, even though they know there's going to be a check, but they still try. And people say, well, Colin, gun shows, you know, you don't see, show me how many people buy guns at gun shows and then use them in crime.
And how are you going to stop people who basically have a felony record, but got to use a misdemeanor and also got their gun rights back as well? Because if the felon basically, like, say, passes, like, his probation or parole, he can be used a misdemeanor, which means he's like 10 years, so probably, or 15, he'll probably have his gun
gun shows that are used in gun crime. Well, the nature of the transaction I'm talking about has no record. There is no paper trail. There's no data to pull from to make statistics about it. No one can claim to know how many. But why would you think, I mean, if 2 million people have been denied from a dealer where they were going through a way where they knew there was going to be a check, how many people shouldn't have been able to buy guns when they tried to buy them from a way where they knew there was going to be no check? I mean, simple as that. How would, if you got on a plane, you have 2 ways to get on a plane, one through a metal detector, one without a metal detector. People are trying to avoid the law. Which way are they going to take? And you see, you know, when I went to these gun shows, I would look at a gun from a dealer, say it's $500, and I'd find that same model gun from a private seller, and it would always be at least $550. The private sellers would always charge you more money. So one guy explained to me on the film, there's no tax, there's no paperwork, it's got to be worth something. And for people trying to get around the background check, that's worth a hell of a lot. That's the $50 that they'll pay. So there is no official answer to that question. We're never going to stop everything. Well, we can make an improvement here, and it's just simple and makes sense and needs to be done. So thanks for that. Yeah.
So I saw in the movie it talks about reasonable restrictions and all that, and I know that you guys did the 94, and then they're proposing all background checks now. But I mean, when does it stop? I mean, like I just heard the Brady Campaign just a few days ago talking about testing all gun owners for if they're test positive for any illegal substance. I mean, and then I also heard, I mean, now in California we just passed rifle registration ban on unloaded open carry, and I mean it just keeps going on. And we talk about 2 million people that were denied by the federal license, background checks, but over 99% of those are false positives, and out of those, that 0.01% that the federal government says is guilty of something, they only charge 30 people every year. So I mean, does it really work?
I've heard that 98% false positive. I know the man who made that statement, and he's John Mott, and I don't find him to be a very credible academic. I would disagree fundamentally that 99% are false positives. There is a very low level of those who are persecuted, correct? But that doesn't mean that preventing them from purchasing a gun right then and there, instantly intervening at that moment, that point of sale, is not a good idea. You should. If you were able to clear up all these venues and make sure that the business of selling guns is done legitimately at gun shows everywhere, then you'd allow our law enforcement agencies to go after the illegal sales of black market. So where do we end? What's the final point? I don't really know. But there's also an instance called straw purchasing. Does everyone know what straw purchase is? Yep. When somebody who's prohibited from owning guns gets someone else who's got a clean record to buy the gun for them, and they give it to them. How do you ever stop that? The only real way I can say how you stop the straw purchase is you have a system of registration, so that every time that gun leaves the store, there's a name associated with it. Currently, California does, but every other state does not. I don't think of any other state besides California has a registration system like that. And people say, that's another point, people criticize me a lot because of states like California and states like New York, we have a lot of gun laws, we still have a lot of gun crime. They say, look, Colin, like these gun laws aren't working, man. Well, you have to realize that the vast majority of guns used in crimes here in California don't come from California. In fact, Virginia is the leading source of guns used in crime in New York. Because you have states with strong laws, but your neighboring states are weak in comparison. Arizona, Nevada, for example. If California can do everything in the world to stop gun sales to prohibited people, but if your neighboring state doesn't do those same things, it really undermines everything that you've done. So that's why I think a federal law is necessary to hold every state to the same standard, to remove these pockets of weakness, pockets of strength. The ATF has given the east coast of the U.S. a nickname. They call it the Iron Pipeline. not let the little guy go. And the ATF let him go. Once they got to the Mexican border, they pulled off. And ultimately, guns were found from this program that were used at a crime scene where the U.S. enforcement agency was killed, Border Patrol was killed. Fortunately, there have been tens of thousands of Mexicans getting killed from gun violence happening with cartels. But it takes one dead American for the U.S. Congress to do something about it and have hearings about it. And that's the second story. But Fast and Furious is absolutely a problem. Don't support it. Horrible idea. But don't think that the U.S. government is giving guns to the cartel. It doesn't happen like that. The flow has happened, right? The U.S. just didn't stop and intervene when it should have. And I'm not supporting on being critical of the city. So move on. So you guys over here? Yeah.
What obstacles you've seen towards preventing federal laws, federal legislation being passed? It seems sensible to most people, like background checks for most people. Federal laws I'm talking about. And have you seen any, is it the gun manufacturers or the profit? What obstacles have you seen to sensible legislation being passed on federal law?
There's one easy answer to that. And before I speak about the National Rifle Association, I want to make a distinction. Whenever I speak critically about this group, I'm talking about their leadership, their administration, the NRA bosses and CEOs. I'm not talking about the membership, who are usually a much more reasonable group of people who come up to me afterwards and say, you know what, I support background checks and all gun sales, for example. But unfortunately, in the 70s, the NRA had a little coup of its own and took this hardline extremist view, where there's can't concede an inch, all or nothing, you're either with us, you're against us. And the NRA is a group that has an industry to stand behind, or stand in front of. People who profit from the manufacture and sale of firearms. Brady Campaign doesn't have an industry. We have people who get shot, and those who get upset about it and donate. That's how we run. So we have a budget in the $5 or $6 million range. The NRA has a budget of $200 to $300 million. So especially when you play the political game, where there's so much money involved, donating to PACs, we can't play that game. The NRA probably wrote the book on how to lobby. We can't play that game. But if you look at the court group, for example, legal cases where money isn't a factor, where everyone's playing by the same set of rules, we do much better in the legal court group. Since the big Supreme Court decision, Heller, D.C. versus Heller, that allowed D.C. residents to own firearms individually. The NRA has challenged that law in every sort of which way over 300 times in the past 2.5 years. We won every single case. There's some still pending. But in that sense, when we're in legal realms, we do a lot better. But it's the NRA has control over a lot of politicians that will frankly tell them, if you vote for gun control, you will lose your next election. We will pour on millions of dollars into that campaign and be sure to it that you don't have office next year, which is unfortunate. They have a fundamental base of people who will vote one way or another based on one issue alone, guns. Whatever has economic policy, whatever is foreign relations policy, doesn't matter. Is he pro-gun or anti-gun? And we frankly don't have that. People who get involved in our issue, it's not a 10 out of 10 in priority. It's a 5 or 6. I understand that. When people get shot and lose a family member, that's when it raises the level of priority, which is why I'm standing in front of you, which is why I'm doing this. Now, I want to tell people about what's going on in this country so they can get involved without having to get shot. I don't want people to go through what I went through to get to the same level of understanding. So here we are. So the NRA is a tough hurdle, but there's never been a time when gun control was easy to pass on Capitol Hill. It was easy to make law. It took Jim and Sarah Brady 7 years to even get the Brady bill passed. So this will take some time. It'll take small events like this, small media appearances, small little things, getting all of you to tell somebody else as you leave here what went on here, what you learned today, to help spread that message. So without going into too long an answer, that's what I say about that. Sir, you had your hand up in the back for long.
Yes. I too am a lawyer, have been for about 35 years. I want to bring up 2 points of the coverage you were building. Oh, by the way, thank God that you're here with us. One was the gun show thing. My understanding is that it was a federal law that very plainly stated that I could not go from California to Nevada that state. The other point I wanted to cover, it was in your film about concealed weapons for college campuses and students. There's a lot of lovely young women here today, and they are most danger of being victims of crime, more so than the men. And it would make perfect sense if these women were able to defend themselves if they had to. Pepper spray is great if a guy's not on a bunch of drugs, because if he is, he's going to beat you to death. Okay? And I just wanted to bring those 2 points up. I thank you very much for being here.
To your first point, I'm quite familiar with the law, especially if I'm going to go around and film myself. I wouldn't be smart to film myself breaking the law. So I bought the guns in Virginia. When I was in Texas and Ohio, I was with somebody else, and they bought the guns. They let me record the situation. But that actually gets to one of my points. Is I could have bought those guns. I mean, practically, I could have been the one that gave the money and walked out with the gun, which speaks to my point of, if you don't do a background check on a person, how are we ever going to know he lives in a different state? You know? It could have been me, but I didn't do it because I recorded myself. And I would have promoted it in public if I was recording myself breaking the law.
What gentleman that lets you walk out without ID or anything? I'm amazed that somebody from the ATF hasn't knocked him out that before, because that was in violation of federal law.
But there's no one checking that, so how is he going to know? Unless I record every single transaction that happens there, how's anybody going to know? There's hardly any law enforcement presence in some of these countries. Some gun shows in Virginia advertise that there will be no cops there. I mean, it is honestly fascinating. To your second point, as students, men, women, young people, 93% of victimization of students happens off campus. College campuses are some of the safest places in this whole country. And I think a large part of that is due to the fact that you cannot bring firearms here. So, to your point is, I think that, well, you can take many ways to the point, but I'm just saying that you're trying to change the law.
College campuses all too often. We have read about rape on college campuses all too often, including some of the best universities like Berkeley and Stanford.
Right. You can hypothetical situations a million times over with what could be happening there, and I'm not trying to do that, so take all that. What I'm saying is, statistically, you are more safe to be on this campus than you are off campus. So you're trying to change the law here to make it like it is elsewhere, where you're more at risk for being hurt or injured than you are here. That's why I fundamentally don't understand that idea. And I refuse to say that the way we have to handle violence on campus is at the last possible second. But the first step we've got to do is try to control the situation when it becomes most uncontrollable. I'm saying we have to be proactive. We have to do something upstream before, rather than at the last possible second and say, you know what, I'm just going to have a gun and shoot my way